Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start today by telling you something that could change your life if you're ready to hear it. We live in a world that's constantly telling us what we need to do, who we need to be, and where we need to go. But let me ask you something. How much of that is actually your voice? How much of that is truly aligned with who God called you to be? You see, too many of us are distracted. We're running around chasing things, people, and approval that have nothing to do with our purpose. And in the process, we waste time that you can never get back. You have to decide today that you're going to focus on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that says, I'm not going to let the world tell me how to spend my time. I'm going to prioritize my purpose and my growth. Prioritizing your own growth over external validation is one of the most powerful choices you can make in life. The world we live in today is built on approval and recognition, and we are constantly surrounded by messages that tell us we need to measure up to someone else's standards. Social media feeds, celebrity culture, and even the people around us seem to hold up a mirror that reflects not who we are, but who they expect us to be. The problem is, we often fall into the trap of seeking validation from the outside, chasing after likes, compliments, and external achievements, thinking that these things will make us feel whole. But the truth is, external validation is fleeting. It is a temporary satisfaction that never truly satisfies our deeper need for purpose, meaning, and self-worth. No matter how many achievements you collect, how many people approve of you, or how much praise you get, if you're constantly looking outward for confirmation, you will never truly feel. It's like trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. You can keep pouring in all the external praise and recognition, but it will never be enough. When we prioritize our own growth over the validation we receive from others, we make the decision to take ownership of our lives and our paths. We stop waiting for permission or approval to move forward and instead focus on what truly matters, becoming the best version of ourselves. This shift doesn't mean you stop caring about others or become dismissive of feedback. It simply means that you stop relying on external sources to define your worth and your direction. You take responsibility for your own journey, growth, and success. The process of focusing on your own growth begins with an internal evaluation. It requires you to ask yourself, what do I truly want? What kind of person do I want to become? What are my values and beliefs? Instead of looking around at what everyone else is doing or what society tells you should matter, you start listening to your own inner voice, your own desires, and your own sense of purpose. You begin to set goals that align with who you are and who you want to be, not based on someone else's idea of success or fulfillment. Self-growth is also about embracing failure as a part of the process, not a reflection of your inadequacy. When you prioritize your own growth, you stop fearing mistakes and begin seeing them as stepping stones. Each failure becomes an opportunity to learn, improve, and refine your abilities. No longer do you measure your worth by how many times you've succeeded, but by how many times you've risen after falling. You start to understand that growth happens in the mess, in the struggles, in the moments when things don't go as planned. It's in those moments that you learn who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Furthermore, focusing on your own growth encourages you to embrace your uniqueness. We are all individuals with different strengths, weaknesses, passions, and purposes. But when we constantly seek validation from others, we tend to mimic their path, their style, and their choices, thinking that we need to fit into a mold to be accepted. But when you focus on your own growth, you embrace who you truly are, quirks and all, you realize that your individuality is your strength, and the more you nurture it, the more you can make a meaningful impact in the world around you. By prioritizing your own growth, you stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is one of the most toxic habits we can fall into. It pulls our attention away from our own potential and places it on someone else's journey. But the reality is, you don't know what someone else has gone through to get to where they are, and you don't know the full story behind their success. Focusing on your growth means you stop measuring yourself by someone else's timeline, achievements, or standards. You let go of the toxic need to compete with others and instead turn your focus inward, where you have control and power to shape your own future. When you prioritize your growth, you also begin to attract the right kind of people into your life. Instead of seeking validation from everyone around you, you start to surround yourself with individuals who support your growth, challenge you to be better, and inspire you to reach higher. These people are not just there to applaud you when you succeed, but they're there to walk with you through the challenges, to lift you up when you fall, and to encourage you when you feel discouraged. This kind of support system is invaluable and plays a huge role in keeping you focused on your own growth, even when the external noise tries to pull you off track. In the end, choosing to prioritize your own growth over external validation is a decision that will bring you peace, fulfillment, and a true sense of purpose. The validation you seek from within will always be more powerful than the temporary satisfaction of external approval. It's a long-term investment in yourself, one that pays off not just in what you achieve, but in who you become. And when you shift your focus from seeking approval to focusing on your own growth, you realize that you are already enough. Just as you are, you have everything you need within you to be the person you were meant to be. Time is your most valuable resource. It is the one thing you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And yet it's so easy to waste it. We live in a world full of distractions, social media, endless entertainment, constant notifications, and a never-ending to-do list. We get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that we often forget that every moment we spend is a moment that could be spent building our dreams, achieving our goals, and becoming who we are meant to be. But here's the truth. If you don't start prioritizing your time, it will slip away unnoticed, and one day you'll find yourself looking back, wondering where it all went. We have to understand that time is not something that just passes by passively. It's something we actively decide how to spend, whether we realize it or not. Every day we make choices. Choices about what we focus on, what we invest our energy in, and what we allow to take up space in our lives. If we're not intentional about how we use our time, we'll end up wasting it on things that don't matter. Whether it's scrolling endlessly through social media, staying in unhealthy relationships, or overcommitting to tasks that don't align with our goals. Every moment wasted is a moment we can never get back. The first step in taking control of your time is to recognize where it's going. Look at your daily habits and ask yourself, how much time do I actually spend on things that contribute to my growth, my success, and my well-being? How much time do I spend on things that are just distractions, things that don't align with my purpose? Be honest with yourself. Are you investing your time in areas that truly matter to you, or are you letting it slip away on things that don't contribute to the bigger picture? If you're spending hours each day on mindless activities that don't move you closer to your goals, then you're essentially wasting precious time. Once you've taken an honest inventory of how you're spending your time, the next step is to make a conscious decision to shift your focus. This doesn't mean you need to completely eliminate all leisure or relaxation time. It means being intentional about where you put your energy. If you want to achieve something in your life, whether it's a career goal, a personal dream, or a relationship you're trying to build, you need to dedicate time to it. You need to carve out space for the things that truly matter and start saying no to the things that drain you. Time is finite, and we can't afford to waste it on things that don't contribute to our long-term success. Being intentional with your time also means setting clear boundaries. In a world where everyone is always asking for your attention, it's essential to set limits on what you're willing to give. You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're constantly giving away your time to others without protecting your own needs, you'll eventually burn out. Setting boundaries means saying no to things that don't align with your priorities and saying yes to the things that will help you grow. It's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing that your time is limited and you need to be strategic about how you use it. Time also requires discipline. It's easy to procrastinate, to put off what we know we need to do, and to get caught up in the comfort of avoiding the hard work. But every minute we delay is another minute we could have spent moving closer to our goals. Discipline is the key to turning time into your ally instead of your enemy. When you commit to taking small, consistent actions every day, you start to see results. Time becomes your partner in progress, and each day you spend wisely builds momentum toward your bigger goals. But if you let yourself get distracted, if you put off the hard work for later, you'll find yourself looking back, regretting all the time you could have used to build something meaningful. Another important aspect of managing your time is recognizing that not all time is created equal. There are certain activities, relationships, and commitments that will bring you closer to your goals, and there are others that will hold you back. You need to be able to differentiate between things that are urgent and important and things that are simply distractions. It's easy to get caught up in the urgent tasks, the things that demand our immediate attention, while ignoring the important things that require deeper focus and longer-term investment. But true success comes from prioritizing what matters most, even when it doesn't feel urgent. By learning to say no to distractions and putting your energy into what's truly important, you create space for progress and growth. We also have to realize that time is a non-renewable resource. Unlike money, which can be earned back, or relationships that can be rebuilt, time cannot be reclaimed. Once you've used it, it's gone. This reality should inspire urgency in how we approach each day. If you're serious about your goals, you need to start acting as if time is your most precious commodity, because in reality, it is. The choices you make today will determine how you spend tomorrow, and tomorrow is not promised. When you make the decision to stop wasting time, you begin to see every moment as an opportunity to move forward, to grow, and to become the person you were meant to be. You start to understand that every day is a gift, and how you choose to use it will shape your future. Time is not something you can get back once it's gone. It's time to stop letting the minutes slip away unnoticed. Take control of your time, focus on what matters, and start building the life you've always dreamed of. We live in a world that constantly urges us to compare ourselves to others. From social media platforms to professional environments, we are bombarded with images of what success, beauty, and happiness look like according to someone else's standards. The problem with comparison is that it pulls us away from our own journey, our own unique path, and directs our focus towards someone else's. We look at other people's achievements, their progress, their possessions, and we start to measure ourselves against them. This can quickly lead to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and discouragement. It can also distract us from our own strengths and potential. The truth is, comparison is one of the biggest thieves of joy and progress. When we constantly look at where others are in their lives and wonder why we're not there yet, we lose sight of the fact that everyone's journey is different. Everyone has a different timeline, a different set of experiences, and a different story to tell. Just because someone else is further along in their career, has achieved more, or seems to be living a perfect life doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're behind. It simply means that their path is different from yours, and that's okay. When you focus on your own growth, you stop measuring your success based on where others are and start measuring it against where you were yesterday. You realize that your growth isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. It's about improving, progressing, and becoming the best version of yourself. Growth is a personal journey, and it's about developing your skills, expanding your knowledge, and refining your character. It's about building resilience, learning from mistakes, and pushing through challenges, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Instead of comparing yourself to others, ask yourself, what progress have I made? What have I learned? How far have I come? The focus should always be on your own growth and improvement, not on competing with someone else. You don't have to be where they are. You just need to be on your own path, moving forward at your own pace. Everyone's journey is unique, and it's important to recognize that what works for someone else might not work for you. The key is to understand your own strengths, passions, and values and use them to guide your growth. Comparison also blinds us to our own potential. When we focus too much on others, we start to underestimate ourselves. We see their success and think, I'll never be able to do that, or I'm not good enough to achieve what they've achieved. But that's simply not true. You have everything inside you to succeed in your own way. You may not have the same skills, resources, or circumstances as someone else, but you have your own unique set of abilities and experiences that make you valuable. Instead of focusing on what others have or what they've done, shift your focus to what you can do, where you can go, and what you can build. Focusing on your growth means taking ownership of your own journey. It means recognizing that your success is not determined by the achievements of others, but by your own commitment to progress. Every person's journey is different, and comparison only serves to distract you from what's important, your own development. It takes time, effort, and patience to grow. And it's important to remember that progress doesn't always look like someone else's. Some days it might feel slow, some days it might feel like you're not moving at all. But even on those days, you are still growing, still learning, and still building towards something great. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you also start to embrace the journey itself. The challenges, the setbacks, the moments of uncertainty, they're all part of the process. Rather than wishing you were further along or questioning your worth because of someone else's success, you begin to appreciate the small steps you're taking, the lessons you're learning, and the strength you're building along the way. Every experience, whether good or bad, is contributing to your growth. The key is to stay focused on your own path and trust that it will lead you to where you're meant to be. Growth is a journey, not a race. There's no timeline, no deadline, and no competition. The only person you're competing with is the person you were yesterday. So stop looking at someone else's progress and wondering why you're not there yet. Start looking at your own progress, acknowledging the work you've put in, and celebrating the victories, no matter how small they may seem. By focusing on your own growth, you'll find that you have more energy, more motivation, and more joy. You'll stop feeling inadequate and start feeling empowered. And when you truly embrace your own journey, you'll see that you are exactly where you need to be. Setting boundaries is one of the most important steps you can take to protect your time, energy, and well-being. In a world that constantly demands more of us, whether from work, family, or friends, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and stretched too thin. When we don't set clear boundaries, we open ourselves up to being pulled in every direction, trying to meet everyone else's needs while neglecting our own. This is a recipe for burnout, frustration, and feelings of inadequacy. Boundaries are not about being selfish. They are about taking control of your life and ensuring that you have the space and energy to prioritize what matters most to you. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing your limits. We all have a certain capacity for taking on tasks, meeting commitments, and supporting others, but when we push ourselves beyond that limit, we risk burning out. It's important to understand that you can't do everything, and that's okay. You don't need to say yes to every request or take on every responsibility. In fact, recognizing your limits means acknowledging that your time, energy, and emotional well-being are finite resources, and you have to be selective about how you use them. Setting boundaries also means being clear about your priorities. What are the things that truly matter to you? What are the goals and values that guide your life? When you know what's most important to you, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't align with your priorities. For example, if you're focused on building your career, you may need to set boundaries around how much time you spend on social activities or taking on additional responsibilities that don't contribute to your professional growth. Similarly, if your health and well-being are a priority, you may need to say no to late nights or stressful commitments that disrupt your ability to rest and recharge. Boundaries are also essential in relationships. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to please others, to say yes when you really want to say no, or to sacrifice your own needs for the sake of maintaining harmony. But this approach is unsustainable and ultimately unhealthy. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and that includes respecting each other's time, space, and boundaries. When you set clear boundaries in your relationships, you communicate that you value yourself and your needs just as much as you value the other person. This doesn't mean you stop being supportive or loving. It means you recognize that taking care of yourself is a necessary part of being able to show up for others in a meaningful way. Saying no can be difficult, especially when we fear disappointing others or worrying about what they might think. But the truth is, saying no is a powerful act of self-care. It's a way of saying that your time and energy are valuable and you are not willing to give them away freely. Saying no doesn't have to be harsh or confrontational. It can be done politely and respectfully. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're setting a boundary, but you do owe it to yourself to honor it. The more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. And the more you'll realize that you have the right to protect your own well-being. One of the most important aspects of setting boundaries is consistency. It's easy to set a boundary once, but if you don't stick to it, it loses its power. If you set a boundary with someone but then allow them to overstep it time and time again, you send the message that your boundary is not important and that you are willing to sacrifice your needs for the sake of others. Consistency is key to reinforcing your boundaries and ensuring that they are respected. When your boundaries are respected, it becomes easier to stand in them. This also means being firm in your decisions. There will always be people who try to push your boundaries or make you feel guilty for setting them. But the more firm and consistent you are, the more others will learn to respect your limits. Setting boundaries is not just about saying no to others, it's also about saying yes to yourself. It's about giving yourself permission to rest, to take breaks, and to focus on your own growth and well-being. We often feel guilty for taking time for ourselves, especially when there are so many demands on our time. But self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you set boundaries that prioritize your own needs, you are ensuring that you have the energy and focus to be the best version of yourself, both for your own benefit and for the benefit of others. Boundaries also help to reduce stress and increase focus. When you're constantly saying yes to everything and everyone, your mind is scattered and your energy is depleted. You're not able to give your best to anything because you're stretched too thin. But when you set clear boundaries, you create space to focus on what truly matters. You can give your full attention to the tasks and relationships that align with your priorities, and as a result, you become more effective and less stressed. Boundaries help you stay focused on your goals, avoid distractions, and prevent burnout. In the long run, setting boundaries leads to greater fulfillment and peace of mind. You're no longer caught in the cycle of constantly pleasing others, and you no longer feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions. Instead, you are in control of your time, energy, and emotional well-being. You've created space for the things that truly matter, and you've given yourself the freedom to grow and thrive. Setting boundaries is not always easy, but it's one of the most powerful tools you can use to protect your time, your energy, and your life. Investing in self-care and personal development every day is one of the most impactful decisions you can make for your life. In the rush of daily responsibilities, it can be easy to overlook the importance of taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally. However, neglecting your own well-being often leads to burnout, stress, and feelings of inadequacy. By intentionally carving out time for self-care and personal growth, you ensure that you are not only surviving but thriving in every aspect of your life. Self-care is about recognizing that your mind, body, and spirit need attention, nourishment, and rest in order to function at their best. It's about recognizing that you can't give your best to others or to your work if you're not taking care of yourself first. This doesn't mean that self-care is selfish or indulgent. It's actually one of the most unselfish things you can do. When you take care of yourself, you increase your capacity to be present, to serve others, and to achieve your goals. You're better equipped to face the challenges that come your way and to keep moving forward in a healthy, balanced way. Physical self-care is often the most overlooked aspect of self-care, but it's essential to overall well-being. Getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, exercising regularly, and managing stress are all key components of maintaining a healthy body. These basic practices have a profound impact on your energy levels, mood, and ability to focus. When you neglect your physical health, everything else suffers. Lack of sleep, poor diet, and a sedentary lifestyle can lead to fatigue, anxiety, and an inability to perform at your highest level. By making your physical health a priority, you not only improve your quality of life, but also increase your ability to perform well in every area of life. In addition to physical care, mental self-care is just as crucial. Our minds are constantly bombarded with information, tasks, and worries. Without a break, our mental health can begin to decline, leading to stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Mental self-care involves taking intentional steps to reduce stress, manage negative thoughts, and increase mental clarity. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, journaling, and limiting exposure to negativity are all helpful ways to take care of your mind. These practices allow you to release mental clutter and create space for fresh ideas, creativity, and productivity. They also allow you to tap into a sense of peace and calm, which can be transformative in how you approach challenges. Emotional self-care is about being kind to yourself and managing your emotional health. This involves recognizing and processing your emotions instead of suppressing or ignoring them. Emotions are powerful, and when we don't take the time to understand and work through them, they can build up and affect our relationships, work, and overall sense of happiness. Emotional self-care involves acknowledging your feelings, expressing them in healthy ways, and setting boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. It's about learning how to respond to your emotions with compassion and patience, understanding that it's okay to feel and to take time for yourself when you need it. Beyond self-care, personal development is an essential part of growing as an individual. Personal development is about committing to continuous growth, learning, and self-improvement. It's about developing the skills, mindset, and habits that will allow you to achieve your goals and become the person you aspire to be. Personal development can take many forms, including reading books, taking courses, seeking feedback, practicing new skills, or working with a mentor or coach. The key is to make learning and growth a consistent part of your routine, even if it's just a small amount of time each day. One of the most powerful aspects of personal development is that it builds momentum. The more you invest in your own growth, the more confident, capable, and inspired you become. Each small step you take towards improving yourself compounds over time, leading to significant progress. Personal development also helps you build resilience. Life is full of challenges, but when you're committed to growing, you develop the tools and mindset needed to handle adversity. You learn how to navigate difficulties with greater ease, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. Personal development isn't just about professional or external success. It's also about developing inner strength and self-awareness. By focusing on your growth, you begin to understand your own values, strengths, and weaknesses. This self-awareness allows you to make better decisions, set more meaningful goals, and create a life that aligns with who you truly are. When you focus on developing yourself, you stop relying on external validation and start building internal confidence and fulfillment. This sense of self-assurance is vital for maintaining a positive mindset and pushing through challenges. The beauty of personal development is that it's an ongoing process. There's always room for growth, no matter where you are in life. Whether you're just starting out on a new journey or you've been on a path of growth for years, there's always something new to learn, experience, and discover about yourself. The key is to commit to making personal development a part of your daily life. This commitment doesn't require large, drastic changes, but can be as simple as dedicating time each day to reading, reflecting, or practicing a new skill. The more you invest in yourself, the more you will see positive changes in your life. Self-care and personal development are not one-time activities. They are daily practices that compound over time. When you make them a consistent part of your life, you'll begin to see the rewards. You'll feel more energized, more confident, and more aligned with your goals and values. You'll become more capable of handling life's challenges, and you'll begin to experience a greater sense of fulfillment and joy. By investing in your well-being and growth, you are not only building a better future for yourself, but also creating the foundation for lasting success and happiness. Every day we are faced with opportunities to make choices that shape our future. These choices can feel insignificant in the moment, but over time they accumulate and lead us down a certain path. The small decisions we make today will determine the direction of our lives tomorrow. This is why it's crucial to be intentional about the choices we make and to approach every decision with a sense of purpose. It's easy to fall into the trap of making choices based on convenience or immediate gratification, but those decisions often don't align with our long-term goals. True success comes from making decisions that are in alignment with our values, vision, and purpose. When you make intentional decisions, you take control of your life. You stop allowing external circumstances or other people's opinions to dictate your path. Instead, you focus on what you want to achieve and how you want to show up in the world. This means making choices that may not always be the easiest, but that will move you closer to the person you want to become. It's about being willing to make the tough decisions when necessary, even if it means stepping out of your comfort zone or making sacrifices along the way. One of the most powerful things about intentional decision-making is that it allows you to align your actions with your values. When you know what's truly important to you, it becomes easier to make decisions that reflect those values. For example, if you value health and wellness, you might make decisions to exercise regularly, eat nourishing foods, and prioritize sleep. If you value personal growth, you might make decisions to invest time in learning new skills, reading, or seeking mentorship. When your decisions align with your values, you start living a life that feels authentic and meaningful. You stop chasing after things that don't truly matter to you and start focusing on the things that will bring you long-term fulfillment. It's also important to recognize that every decision you make has consequences, both short-term and long-term. Often, the consequences of our decisions are not immediately apparent, which is why it's easy to make choices based on instant gratification. But the choices we make today have a ripple effect on our future. Choosing to prioritize your career over your health, for example, may give you a temporary sense of achievement, but over time it may lead to burnout, exhaustion, and poor health. On the other hand, choosing to take care of yourself physically and mentally may require more effort in the short term, but it will pay off in the long run by allowing you to show up as your best self in every area of your life. Intentional decision-making also involves learning to say no. Saying no is often one of the hardest decisions to make, especially when it involves letting down others or disappointing people. But the truth is, saying no is necessary in order to preserve your time and energy for the things that truly matter. If you say yes to everything, you end up spreading yourself too thin, which leads to stress, burnout, and a lack of focus. By saying no to things that don't align with your goals or values, you create space for the things that do. This is how you protect your energy and ensure that your decisions are always intentional, not reactive. Another crucial aspect of intentional decision-making is the ability to trust your intuition. There are times when the right choice may not be immediately clear, and it's easy to get caught up in overthinking or seeking validation from others. But deep down, you have an inner sense of what's right for you. Trusting your intuition means listening to that inner voice and having the confidence to make decisions that feel right for you, even if they go against the opinions of others. This requires self-awareness and self-trust. When you learn to trust your intuition, you make decisions that are true to who you are and what you want to create in your life. It's also important to recognize that not every decision will be perfect. We are all human and we make mistakes. Sometimes the choices we make don't lead to the outcomes we expected, and that's okay. The key is to learn from those decisions and use them as opportunities for growth. Mistakes don't define us. How we respond to them does. Instead of beating yourself up over a bad decision, use it as a lesson to make better choices in the future. Embrace the idea that every decision is a chance to learn and grow, and don't be afraid to make changes when necessary. As you make intentional decisions, it's important to have a clear vision for your life. When you know where you're headed, it becomes much easier to make decisions that support that vision. A clear vision serves as a guide, helping you navigate the choices that come your way. Without a vision, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day distractions and lose sight of your long-term goals. And take the time to define what you want for your life. What kind of person you want to be, what kind of impact you want to make, and what kind of legacy you want to leave. Once you have a clear vision, you can make decisions that are aligned with that vision, and every choice you make will move you closer to your desired future. Intentional decision-making is not about perfection. It's about making choices that move you toward the life you want to live. It's about being mindful of the decisions you make every day, no matter how small, and ensuring that they reflect your values and vision. When you approach life with intentionality, you take control of your future and begin to create the life you've always dreamed of. Each decision is a step toward the person you are becoming, and every step, no matter how small, is progress.